good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. And today we are back with another discussion video. This time around, this is probably going to be my last big discussion that I really want to discuss, other than whatever else I have planned. But we are going to talk about, and this I had a discussion about this recently, and it just made me want to make a video on it because it's so relevant to today and what people do on the internet and whatnot. But I want to talk about when content creators go corporate. There's so many examples I could use for this meaning, but basically what that term means is when content creators go corporate. What does that mean when someone goes corporate? So I don't know, imagine start out as a little retail employee. You're just a little guy, you're making your paycheck. That's all you're doing. You're making a good 500 a week, who knows. But when you start there and then you end up at the corporate level, suddenly then any values you had when you were just a little guy is out the window. So when you go corporate, you just suddenly throw all that away. You throw away your morals and all that sort of stuff, and you're just chasing money. That's kind of what it is. That's how I see it. That's when you think of someone going corporate, they throw away everything that made them, and they just chase the bag. That is pretty much it. And I get it. We all have to make money. That's kind of the whole point of life is you got to make money. You got to survive. You got to do all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to examples I could use of content creators going corporate, I think the best example I could use, and it is so, it's so on brand, it's so on point for this definition of going corporate. And we're going to talk about two groups that were on YouTube, not Twitch, not Kick or whatever, on YouTube specifically, way back in the day. We're going to talk about two groups that started as a small little group, and that grew into being corporate. Let's start with the Creatures. So the Creatures, this group, I watched them when I was I'm pretty sure it was high school. Well, it might have been high school, it might have been a mix of middle school, but around that time was when I started watching these guys, and they were just known as the Creatures. I think probably closer to when I started high school, maybe my freshman year or something, maybe. I think it was still middle school, but they turned in. So when they started as the Creatures, they just started in a house, right? It was just a house. It was I think it was, I don't know if it was it wasn't a mansion, it was a house. But they started in a house, and slowly they turned into Creature Hub, from the Creatures to the Creature Hub. And that's when they moved into an office space. And to me, I didn't think anything of it at the time when they just moved to an office space. I was like, okay, they're just getting organized. But then people started leaving the group, and that's when I saw it. And that's when I was like, oh, what is going on here? So basically, it's wild. They started in a house, right? Just guys having fun on YouTube or whatever, starting this little group doing content together. And then they move into an office space, start hiring more people, or more people start joining the group. And the more people start to leave, there's office space drama. At least I think there was for the Creature Hub in the office. Everyone starts to leave, and then they end the channel. Now, I could do a deep dive on the Creatures and go into all of it, but I think you just need to know that basis for the definition of when content creators go corporate. Because at that point, when I was watching them in the office space, I could almost, it wasn't always corporate, but you could start to see when people were losing, the whole purpose of the group was starting to lose its identity, and I don't know. It just seemed like the Creatures went a certain way and started becoming less fun. It started looking more like an organization instead of just a group of people who want to play video games and do fun stuff together. And that's kind of how it ended. Was it ended with what Dan and Kutra just saying like, yeah, we're ending the channel, we're done with this. And I'm pretty sure Dan was like most saddened by it. But Kutra here, guy in the green, apparently was like dating their assistant or something or whatever. And like, there's so much drama behind all this. But like, this is a group that like I looked at and went, like when I was discussing this with a friend, I was just like, oh my God, dude. Like, how do you go from being like having a group of guys in a house who just want to play games together and do fun stuff together to corporate office building where everyone has their own little gaming setup and they have to make it's, to me it was so, like, looking back at it now, I'm just like, man. And then you go from the Creatures to Cow Chop. Now, dude, I was so hopeful when Cow Chop started because it was James and Alex, Uber Haxor Nova, Immortal HD. So hopeful. I was like, this is it. This is where things get better. Because I was like, okay, you get all the drama out of it if it's just those two, because honestly, they were my favorite out of the group, and they did the most content together, so it made sense. And I saw like a future for this channel to be like, yes, this is it. This is what I'm about. Now, the same is wild that the same thing happened here. Like the exact same scenario. Not the exact same scenario, but like it was basically like, it's basically what happened. Like, they started in a house. And then after the house, they moved to like this warehouse / garage. And then after that, they moved into a warehouse. Things got a little more like, you could tell the vibe was, it was basically falling apart. Like you could tell things were changing. And when I was watching Cow Chop after the whole Creatures stuff, like knowing that situation, when I was watching Cow Chop and seeing them move location to location to location, getting more members, changing the content they do from gaming to like other stuff, that is when I saw it. That is when I was like, oh, here we go again. Like this, it's the exact same thing. Cow Chop had the same falling out type of deal where like everyone was just leaving and the group, it became unrecognizable to the point where I had to stop watching. Because I didn't want to have a Creatures situation again where like, because I think the moment I stopped watching Cow Chop was when James left. Because I was just like, well, the whole purpose of the channel is gone now. You know, it didn't make sense to me. And it just, like, I think after like a few years, I think after high school, it clicked. I was just like, they went from content creators to being like, they went from being just guys playing games, having a good time, to going corporate and just caring about the money. At the end of the day, sure, you have to make money out of whatever you're trying to do that you intend to make a career out of. But at the end of the day, if you're just gonna forget what made you and you start to go corporate and you only chase that bag, people are gonna stop watching. It just, dude, yeah, it was really stupid. It was really dumb that this is like, I thought Cow Chop would have stopped repeating the mistakes of the Creatures, and it just didn't. It didn't. It's so bad. I don't understand how groups like this can fall apart. And dude, like, it's not even just these YouTube creators, these YouTube groups that go from what made them to what makes money, you know? And I think that's kind of the overall thing here. But like, you look at like Twitch, for example, because we'll just throw it out there. Like, Twitch, there's a lot of content creators that go from streaming for fun, just having a good time, to the moment they make partner and they're like obviously care about the money, but like they start making everything about money. Everything starts to become money, and they lose what made them on Twitch. They lose that value. They lose everything that made them. And it's crazy to me that like money changes people, but it shouldn't, you know? But like, it's wild that like a content creator on Twitch just they get partnership and they start getting an influx of subs or donos or bits or what have you, and they lose the part of them that like that started being a content creator, you know, that they just enjoyed what they were doing. Because like I don't know, I don't like when people lose their values. Like I can think of one content creator who I won't name, but I will say like they were just doing, they were a variety streamer, right? And they were just, I probably have talked about this before, but they were a variety streamer and all they did was variety up until they got partnered and they started just streaming Dead by Daylight. To me, it's like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand. I don't. Like, you change up what you're doing and you're just doing it because you're in it for the bag, which is really ridiculous. And a lot of content creators do that. They'll swap up to what they're doing. Like, there's a streamer, and I've probably talked about this again, the streamer that went from doing variety streaming, having like a huge community to be a part of, and they went from playing video games to reacting to videos on Twitch, which I think is really stupid, and I hate it. I really do. It's just like these content creators on Twitch lose what makes them when money becomes a huge factor. Like, I think it's so obvious, but you should continue to do what you did before you started making money, like huge amounts of money. It's silly to me. And then again, looking at YouTube, like YouTube's YouTube, you know, it is what it is. I've already talked about the groups, but like I feel like YouTube's a whole different beast. Like, obviously if you start making money, you know, focus on what's you, but like there's a reaction channel I won't name, but they like I think their content was better before they started blowing up, and when they started blowing up, they changed what they do. Like, they just literally don't react to stuff that they used to just react to for fun, and they start caring about like numbers and all the sort of stuff and stats. And it's like, dude, like your channel is dying because you're refusing to, you know, stick to the values that you were running with when you started. It's like there's issues I have with channels that when they change how they operate because of money or whatever, it's like, dude, did you forget how you started? I don't know. Maybe I'm just like being salty or whatever, but like it's so silly that people change their entire channel based on money. And like, I'm going to talk about me at the end of this, but the other thing I just want to bring up that will never change is Kick. I've talked about Kick, and Kick is like it's a scumbag of a site, you know? And it's funny that their logo kind of looks like Minecraft blocks, because it's pretty much what it is. But also the fact that like it's Bitcoin, that's probably why it's like that. That's why the logo is like that. But like, this site's all about losing your values and going corporate. Like, if you truly lose your values and go corporate on Twitch or YouTube, go to Kick, because you're just in it for the money. If you're just in it for the bag, go to Kick, because you don't need to be on those other platforms if you're just going to chase money and chase values instead of what mattered to you in the beginning. You know, it is so silly, man. And just talking about myself for a second, because I'm not going to talk about Kick anymore. I don't know, man. Looking at like, I've been a content creator for 10 years. Probably over that. Probably way over that. But at least I've been streaming on Twitch for 10 years, and I've been a Twitch affiliate for 8. And I've probably been on YouTube for like 11 years or so. Probably longer. Been on YouTube for a while doing content. And regardless of being a small channel, I've still kept my values. And I've always thought about the day that if I ever got partnered, or if I ever, you know, hit a higher viewership or what have you, my values aren't going to change. I'm going to stay the way I am, because listen, man, I'm never going to change my channel. I'm never going to change who I am as a person. I'm never going to change the games I'm playing. I'm not going to go from variety to streaming Call of Duty or Fortnite. I'm never doing that. That's just stupid. If you know me, that would be stupid, because I'm a variety streamer. Like, that's never changing. That is never going to change. You will never see me just simply doing a reaction stream where I check out houses that are more expensive than I could ever make. You know, I'm never going to be doing that. Never. It's so, I hate that, man. It's so stupid that people will change their values for money because money probably seems more worth than what they are valued at. And I can't get over that, man. It's just, it's stupid. I had to talk about this because I feel like people don't understand. It takes a long time to get somewhere as a content creator. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. I say that a lot of work, a lot of effort. It's not like a normal job or a normal career, you know, but like at the end of the day, you go live every day, you upload videos every day, and if you don't make it, you don't make it. But like if you do one day, you shouldn't change how you operate. You shouldn't change what you put up. You shouldn't change you. You should stay the same. Because the fact of the matter is, Creature Hub, Couch Hub, their channels died because they changed too much. They lost what made them. And that's unfortunate. It's the same can be said for Twitch streamers. Same can be said for YouTube content creators in general. They lost what made them, and it is so sad. And I don't like it in the slightest. I think that's how I want to end this video, because truth be told, if I ever ever see partnership, like my values will not change. I will stay the same person I am, and I intend to make that a promise. Believe you me. If I need a reminder, if I hit that goal, please remind me, because it's not going to leave my head. I'm aware of the people who have lost their values, and aware of the people that literally don't know what they're worth half the time when they suddenly get partnered and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to get canceled. You know, it's wild. But I'm going to end it on that note. But anywho, thank you guys for watching this video, hanging out. I appreciate it a ton. And I will see you guys in the next video. And yeah, goodbye.